I'm going to show you how to create a mock-up with your logo design. So here you can see I've been playing around with my logo, figuring out how I want to do the layout and things like that. So you can see here then I need to figure out which one I want to use and decide how I'm going to use it. So what I'm going to do is create a mock-up, which is great for clients so they can visualize what their logo will look like printed on things without having the expense of printing things. So I've got this logo here, but I am going to duplicate this because I know as I was playing around with this that I need a different layout for my design. So I just duplicated my artboard, and I'm actually going to make this artboard a little bit wider because I want to do a horizontal layout with this. So I'm going to group my text and pull this over here instead, and I'm going to make this guy a little bit smaller. So now I have a horizontal logo, and I'm going to make my artboard a little bit smaller because that's just going to take up file space, and it's going to be really annoying to work with if I have a bunch of white space all the way around it. So I'm going to save this. So I have it, but then I'm also going to export this. I'm going to export it as a PNG. I could export it as an SVG as well. That would work great. I probably don't want to do a JPEG just because then what's going to happen is all of this white, remember JPEGs don't support transparency, so all of this white would stay white instead of transparent. If I use a PNG, then all of that white will remain transparent. The downfall of that is it does become a raster file, so it can pixelate. I could stick with an SVG and then it still remains a vector graphic. But I'm just going to show you with a PNG what I'm going to do with this. So I do want to use the artboard because I've got 3 separate artboards, and if I don't use the artboard, it will grab everything. And I also just need the third artboard, so I put under range, I put 3. I'm going to export that, and then I want to make sure that my resolution is 300, and I want to make sure that my background color is going to be transparent rather than white. I'm going to hit OK. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the internet and I'm going to find a mock-up. So if I go to our class website and go to resources, if I scroll down, when I get down near the stock photos, I also see mock-ups, and there's a bunch of websites here that you can use. I like Mockup World or Graphic Burger the best. Those are the 2 that I use the most. So if I go to Mockup World, since this is juice, I'm going to put in a juice box. And I know from already kind of playing around with this that this file isn't going to work for me because of the filters that we have on the internet here at school. However, if you guys are working at home, you shouldn't have any issues with downloading anything. I will tell you though, sometimes it's hard to figure out which is the right download button because they have a lot of ads on these. So with this one, I'm going to do a free download, which is going to redirect me to a different website. And then this is going to take me to another site. And right here you see a download button, but this is actually an ad. So you do have to figure out which is the correct background or the correct download button. So here's my download button. And I've already downloaded that and opened that in Photoshop. So when I open this in Photoshop, it looks kind of like this. And I have all sorts of stuff. I can change the background and I can change the lighting and the texture and things like that. But what I'm looking at, and actually it opened up like this, so it actually had an ad on it. So I just turned that and built the file. So I'm going to click on this mockup folder, which then there's the red container, the green container, and the purple container. So under the red one, you can see that there's an edit me layer here. Couple of them, and probably if I go under the green and the purple, I'm going to have the same thing. It might say put your image here or something along those lines, but see how there's this little image right here in the thumbnail? that's called a smart object. And a smart object means it's linking back to a different file. So I'm going to double click on that to open up that file. And so you can see here that this is what that looked like. I can just turn that layer off and then I can add new layers. So I'm going to I'm going to go to place embedded, and I'm going to find my logo. And this is why I used a horizontal one, because this one is just not going to fit on that space really well. So I made that horizontal one, and I'm going to have to turn it. If I hold shift, it will turn it in 45-degree increments. And then also if I hold shift, when I resize it, it will keep it in proportion so that I can place it on there. And I want to center this pretty nicely. And hit return to apply it. And then if you want, you can add some background to this as well. So I just created a new layer for this, and I decided I wanted to put a gradient on there. And so there's all these different gradients, and I thought green gradients would look good with my apple because those are complementary colors. So I kind of liked this one here. And if I just go back to my layers, I just need to pull my logo on top of that. Now to apply this to the other image, I'm going to go to File, Save, and then when I go back to that mock-up image, boom, it's there. So here's the side of the other one, and I think I'm just going to put a gradient on there, and I'm going to hit Save, and then when I go back to my mock-up, then that's going to apply it to that. And I actually might move this logo down just a little bit. It feels a little bit high. So if I move it, and I hit save again, and I go back, it should apply to that image. And then I can go in and I can do that to the other containers, and I can even change my background. I just have to go into the layers and see how they built that. And that's it. That's how you do a mock-up. And then you would present this to your client to show them how your logo is going to look. And sometimes you can present it in several different mock-ups. Business cards are always a good one to show. So if I go back to Mockup World and I do a new search and I do business cards. But business cards are great. Any promotional items are great. If it's a clothing brand, maybe like tags, and maybe an actual shirt. So there's all sorts of stuff that you can search for mockups.